Good evening and welcome to our City Council meeting this January the 13th. I would like to call our meeting to order. We're going to start out with our invocation with Reverend James Leonard Ford from Morningside Missionary Church.
Let's bow our heads. Gracious Father, we say thank you for the year of 2024. We pause to say and ask that you look in on the fires, those that are working out there. We ask that you bless and you keep them and you cover them. In the beginning of this year, Lord, we ask that you impart wisdom and knowledge and understanding that we may discern and make good judgment of the citizens of Mount Holly. Thank you for life, health, and strength. We thank you for the friends and family. We thank you for all those that are here and all those that you represent. Give us wisdom and give us understanding. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. We'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Boy Scout Troop 59. If you would, please stand with me.
Color guard advance. Color guard post the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute, pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, fine folks of Mount Holly, good evening. Thank you again for allowing us to be here tonight. Just reflecting back this week, we've started the new year now, and we're 2 weeks in already, and we've lost a great leader that we had for one period of time in our nation, and just kind of reflecting about what's going on. And I was reading some stuff about Jimmy Carter, our President Carter, and he talked about, in the thing I read, he talked about some influences he had in his life of older adults mentoring him as a child and bringing him up through his youth. And tonight, I'd just like to say, for those of you out there that can, if you got the time, let's invest in our young people of today's society. Let's invest in our youth because they are our future. They are who's going to take over this country and run this country and the city when we're old and decrepit in our wheelchairs. So I'd like to encourage you tonight to just invest in the youth around you. Thank you.
You may be seated. The next order of business is to set the agenda, and I would like to amend the proposed agenda to provide for a discussion regarding 131 South Main Street and the Mount Holly Historical Society's offer to purchase the property at the first item of new business right after public comments. So if we can make that change. Any other changes to our agenda? Hearing none, I'd like to need a motion to approve that agenda. Ms. Harris, second by Mr. Reeves. All in favor? The agenda is approved. Okay, we're going to go on to presentations, consideration, and approval of the final design of the B Art Expansion Project. Okay, we need to approve the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda by Mr. Huff, second by Ms. Shoemaker. All in favor? We have approved the consent agenda. All right, under presentations, consideration and approval of the final design of the B Art Expansion Project murals. Mr. Lowe.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. So this project is an expansion of the B Art program that was developed and completed by the Tourism Development Authority last year. And if approved, it would see 6 murals installed on the side work with the city, or excuse me, the NCDOT for approval. So we did check with the streets department and the building maintenance department to see if they supported the project, and they do. The PAC reviewed the proposed locations and the proposed art at the December 18th meeting and voted to recommend approval. Staff recommends approval, and I can answer any questions. And this is the proposed art that is suggested at the 6 locations. And these are the proposed locations, and they are laid out to spread them out and also to respect, various projects and also the police memorial right near City Hall. So I can answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Lowe?
Move approval.
Mr. Meadows would like to move approval. Do I have a second by Ms. Shoemaker? All in favor? The motion passes. Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to move on to our public hearing. Public hearing to consider rezoning a portion of 1.44 acre tract of land, GIS located at 501 Belmont Mount Holly Road, tax parcel ID number 183899 from B3 General Business to R12 Single Family as submitted by Billy Rick. Mr. Bill.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Staff had received some calls about this parcel general area for a potential gas station, which is allowed use in this area. It was probably some due diligence on the person's part. Subsequently, Mr. Rick reached out wanting to know if the city would consider rezoning. Just for the record, it's 1.44 acres on GIS. It's actually 2.13 acres inside. So staff was talking about the potential for neighborhood impacts. Certainly a gas station in this area would generate about 4,500 vehicles per day in and out. That's an average size gas station like a QT. This would be less impactful to the neighborhood. Proposing 3 R12 properties, as you see on your monitors here, maintaining the commercial corridor on the front, which is an important part of the land use plan, maintaining, the front portion of Belmont Mount Holly Road, which has a hodgepodge of zoning right now, and we're looking to clean that up. Met with Mr. Rick, went through a statement of consistency, which you will find in your packet. Upon the completion of the application and payment of fees, this matter was presented to the Planning Commission this past Monday night. They recommended unanimous approval, 7-0, citing that it is consistent with the Catawba Heights Neighborhood Center plan in the comprehensive land use plan, promoting infill development, good quality infill development. Mr. Rick is here to answer any questions. We're talking about these homes to be over $500,000 homes. Why not required? Mr. Rick says he would put the sidewalk in because he wouldn't want someone to come in later and put a sidewalk and tear up the driveways. So that accomplishes mobility goal as well, number 3 in the land use plan. And it's consistent with housing policy goal number 1 to promote a range of housing options, and housing policy goal number 4 to maintain safe and adequate supply of housing that varies in age and style. So Catawba Heights is seeing some infill development now, and that's, infill development, something we haven't seen a lot in the past, but now people are investing in Mount Holly. I think the market's changed. So again, happy to answer any questions. Mr. Rick is here to tell you more about the proposal if you have any questions, but I think he has a business eye for that front parcel and to clean it up. It's a very overgrown fronting lot, if you're familiar. This will also help with the safety in the school of the area, less traffic impact.
Any questions for Mr. Bill before we go into our public hearing? Okay. Mr. Craig?
No question, but if you remember back in the December meeting, I did recuse myself from this item, so I'd like to do so again before the actual vote.
Okay. Mr. Craig will recuse himself from this vote. Any other comments? Due to a conflict of interest, okay. Any other comments or questions for Mr. Bill? Okay, I need a motion to go into a public hearing. Ms. Shoemaker, second by Mr. Huff. All in favor? We're now in public hearing. We have one person signed up for the public hearing, Mr. Billy Rick.
Thanks, Council. Thanks, Greg. Greg pretty much hit on everything that I've covered with him and in the application. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer. Just look like a good opportunity to continue that B3 zoning through there and put a business tenant or owner on that street there, convert this residential structure to a commercial structure, and rehab an old house that's really in bad shape also at the same time. Have a tenant who, not tenant, but probably a buyer who's ready to sign contract to add on actually to that property and want to be in there by summertime.
Any questions for Mr. Rick? None? Okay. I need a motion to go out of our public comment, our public hearing back into our regular meeting. Ms. Shoemaker, second by Ms. Harris. All in favor? We're back in our regular meeting. Would council like to take action on this? Mr. Huff?
You have a question?
Okay.
All right. I want to make a motion for approval.
Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Huff, second by Mr. Reeves. All in favor? Motion passes. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now it's time for our unscheduled public comment, and we have 9 people signed up. First person that has signed up is Miss Nancy Wren. If you'll state your name and address for the record, please.
Y'all mind if I move this down? And would y'all mind getting closer to your microphone? Because I don't know if you can hear it out here. It's kind of hard to
Yep.
hear.
Get it
So I'm
close
gonna-
as you can. Be great.
Okay, Mayor and City Council, I'm here to speak to you about the offer to purchase the museum building on Main Street. 2 years ago, when I first heard this ability to purchase the building as a nonprofit, I had no clue how to go about making this happen. Today, we have been given the opportunity to be able to do so. This offer is of good faith with no contingencies. It is not meant to be spiteful or revengeful towards the City Council. Our hope is that the 4 who have voted no will open your hearts, listen, give us a chance, and give us this opportunity to continue to share Mount Holly's history in the downtown area. Councilman Meadows, you told me in our last meeting that it looks like it's all about the location of the building for me. It is not all about the location, but that is a big part of it. The most important part of what we do is sharing the town's history. But if you ask any of the tenants on Main Street why they wanted their building, I guarantee you the answers would be because it is on Main Street where the people shop, the people eat and fellowship and attend all the city events, which is good for them. And we want that same opportunity. When people from out of town stay in our local hotels, they also visit quaint towns in the area. They look first in the downtown area, which is normally where you would find a history museum. We have had many of those visitors. You also asked me, have you heard about the situation with the Cherryville Museum? Since then, I visited Cherryville Museum and their board, and they are still on their Main Street in a historic building with the support of their town. A board member of the newly formed McCaddenville Historical Society came to visit us at the museum after visiting several museums in Gaston County. They told her, "You need to go to Mount Holly." And she said to us, "This is just what I had envisioned for our museum." And they are working to purchase property on their Main Street. The board met with 2 local artists who will be creating a mosaic ceramic tile work of art down at Truist Bank.
1 minute.
What does that mean?
That means you've got 1 minute left.
Oh, I'm sorry. He told us that he always looked to incorporate the history of the town so that to visit our museum. We told the stories in each room. They were checking out the artifacts, notes and pictures were taken. Ideas were coming. We were excited that their inspiration came from Mount Holly's museum. Please consider and accept our offer so that our volunteers can continue the work sharing the history of Mount Holly on Main Street. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wren. Ms. Camille Jessen.
Thank you all for letting us speak tonight. We appreciate it. I am a board member of the Mount Holly Historical Museum, serving as vice president. Nancy just spoke. She was our president. I'd like to share a few personal feelings I have about the museum and give you a few facts that you may not know. The museum is more than that building. It's a resource for our citizens, offering and presenting historical information. It's easy for citizens to find on South Main. It's a visible structure. Unlike our post office and even our Mount Holly High School, we have to look and look and look for those two places. We have 40-plus valuable volunteers who share the history on Saturdays and lead school tours and requested tours for church groups, Brownie troops, Boy Scouts, and recently a 7 a.m. tour requested by A&E Meals. Why do we need to remain on Main Street? Plain and simple, so citizens can find us. We're open for every downtown Mount Holly event, Friday concerts, Miracle on Main Street, carriage rides. And it's been expressed many times to me, I didn't know this place was here. I've lived here for 20 years, and we're on Main Street. We benefit from the farmers market, which is open on Saturdays from spring to fall. And we benefit because we're visible. We've answered the requests of families and organizations like Rankin School.
1 minute.
And recently, Aquatics Adventure owner Doug Miller. Doug does not live in Mount Holly. He's from Charlotte. But he saw our sign and contacted the museum for a partnership for a national swimming event in June right here in Mount Holly. I'm concerned that many volunteers will not remain to support the efforts if the museum moves. We already have had requests from families to relinquish their exhibit donations, and that's a sign of uncertainty. Will it stay alive? Who will carry it on? The society is taking a giant step to purchase the building. It will be a large savings for our citizens, no relocation or upfitting expenses. It will leave space at the Grand Hall for city revenue.
Ms. Jessen, your time is up, and if you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Camille Jessen, 109 Brook Lane, Mount Holly.
Thank you.
Can I say one more sentence?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Ms. Janice McCrory.
My name is Janice McRory, and I live at 176 Tom Sawyer Lane in Mount Holly. I'm not going to say a lot, about 3 sentences, but I just would like to request that you honor the request by the Historical Society to purchase the building that they are currently in. Being in control of their destiny, which is what this will help. They'll be able to apply for grants, they'll be able to access more funds, and I think a good fundraising effort from a lot of people in Mount Holly would gain them a lot of financial support. I don't doubt that at all. I think the citizens of Mount Holly will be better off, the city will be better off, as somebody's already mentioned, the funding that they would have to expend to relocate the museum. And I think that a lot of citizens agree with this approach. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gary Brinkley.
Good evening. My name is Gary Brinkley. I live at 176 Tom Sawyer Lane in Mount Holly. I will not speak long because I've spoken about this topic many, many times. It will be no surprise to anyone up here that I fully support the sale of the museum building as proposed in the Historical Society offer. This is a good deal for many reasons. The city gets out of a building it has long not wanted to be in. The Historical Society gets control of its own environment, and the taxpayers avoid considerable expense, which will be involved in moving the museum to a new location. So I say, let's do it. Thank you.
Ms. Teresa Neely.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Teresa Neely, and I live at 147 Patrick Lane here in Mount Holly. My approach is a little different than everybody else's when it comes to, I want the building to stay on Main Street. That's my preference as far as personal. But I see it as, I think you guys, as the city council, has enough on your plate to deal with to let the building stay there and let the museum stand on its own and be a nonprofit organization, and you guys can wash your hands of the worried about the building, worried about the utilities, those type things. Y'all have a lot. You've got parking that needs to be addressed here in town. You're working on picking up garbage cans. That's one thing you've got to do. You're working on state and local government issues. You're working on the greenways. You've got several parks here in town that you're working on. You've got employees that you have utilities, all your employees here in the town. And you've got your big law enforcement. That's growing, our fire department. I just think with the volunteers that have been very active in the museum has proved to the community that they have kept that running. They have made great decisions. They provide for the camp, for the city, the school children, the Boy Scouts, those people that are coming that we've talked about earlier. So all I want to say is think about what's best for you guys too in your load, and consider letting them buy that building beyond Main and stand as a nonprofit organization on their own. Thank you.
Mr. John Jacob.
John Jacob, 1213 West Catawba Avenue. Although I am a board member on the society, I'm speaking my own thoughts tonight on the proposed purchase of the building. The society has offered a cash offer of the appraised value of the building. The appraisal was paid for by the city of Mount Holly. City Council has already gone on record saying that they would sell the building without an upset bid to a 501c3 organization, which makes a legitimate offer to the city. Our offer is the full appraised value with no strings attached. That should be a legitimate offer. The state of North Carolina has said that museums need to be in locations with significant foot traffic. Even they complained that the County Museum in Dallas did not have enough foot traffic. By moving our museum to the city government complex, we would lose all the foot traffic that we presently have. By selling us the building, we would remain having foot traffic. I understand that some of the city council members are starting to ask some questions about the society. As they all should know, yes, we are a 501c3 organization. I have copies of our letter of determination and a copy of the IRS records that show that we are up to date on all of our files. I'll be glad to share this information with you after I finish speaking. Other questions include wanting to see the last 3 years of audits, fundraising records for the last 36 months, potential business plans to operate, a proposed plan to protect the artifacts, a rehabilitation plan for the building, and an environmental cleanup plan. When in the world does a seller ask the buyer questions like that. A mortgage lender might ask a few of these questions, but certainly not all of them. We are not mortgaging this purchase. This amounts to nothing more than making excuses to justify not selling the building to us. But as a board member, I can say that, yes, we have considered all of the above questions.
1 minute.
And have several contingencies for each, depending on how our finances work out and how our needs change. Once the building is sold, the board will have full responsibility for the building, so there is no need to answer any of these other questions. Please do what you've said and do sell the building to Mount Holly Historical Society. The city will save nearly $700,000 in costs to prepare for the move of the museum. Our purchase contract includes all the legal requirements for buying the building. There is no reason to consider information that bears no relationship to the purchase of the building as your reason to vote against selling us the building. The Society has been in operation since 2010, a 501c3 organization since May 8th, 2012. We've always been responsible for our spending and fundraising. You can count on us to serve the public and visitors for many years to come at 131 South Main Street, Mount Holly, if you will just sell us the building. You said you would.
Mr.
Now,
Jacob.
do it.
Time's up. Thank you. Ms. Carolyn Briere.
Carolyn Briere, 307 Eastwood Drive, Mount Holly, North Carolina. These are some answers that we came up with, the questions that were given us. The first one was ask for a certificate of good standing. North Carolina Secretary of State 501c3 status would be required by closing attorney for this or any property purchased by a 501c. We can provide this information. Then ask for 3 years of audits. Audits are not required if revenues are less than $500,000. This is very expensive and time-consuming request. As good stewards of private funding, we would ask not to be burdened with this wasteful spending. Ask fundraising records from the 3 previous years. As the City of Mount Holly has been a wonderful partner over our many years, our past fundraising would be minimal and irrelevant. Our future fundraising will be our #1 goal. Ask potential business plan to operate. We have anonymous investors, donors who are committed to our success. Ask building rehabilitation and environmental cleanup plan. We cannot get estimates for cleanup unless we are the property owners. We have been informed that as a private nonprofit owners, we could have the building safe for a fraction of the estimate submitted by the city due to municipal protocol. Ask, propose plan to protect the artifacts. After many years and thousands of volunteer hours dedicated to protecting the artifacts, we find this question very offensive. What we don't plan to do is place them in a mini warehouse and forget about them. Thank you.
Kimberly Clark.
Hi, Kimberly Clark, 802 North Main Street, Mount Holly. Good evening. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Mount Holly Historical Society's purchase of the building that we've been residing in for 15 years. I also serve as a board member of the Historical Society. This purchase means so much to us. We are here voluntarily as a group to serve the city as well as the people of Mount Holly and surrounding areas. We belong on Main Street where we can best serve the community. We understand the new growth coming into Mount Holly with all the new bars and restaurants and shopping. However, we are an important and integral part of our town and the history behind it. When people come downtown, we are there to introduce them to our town. Walk-ins are of vital importance to us. If we are located in the annex, the amount of walk-in citizens would be next to none. I believe maybe Jonathan may have given you a sheet, a scratch sheet from the Historical Society. If you have it, just refer to it. One of the biggest motivations for accepting our offer is that taxpayers will save well over $700,000 for upfitting a new location and the costs involved with moving the Historical Society. We are meeting the city's appraised value, and we really want to stay where we are. Ownership for us also opens several doors for grant and fundraising opportunities, and the Historical Society agrees that we will assume all full responsibility and liability for this building, which, may I add, has numerous issues. But we are happy there. We hope to continue serving you and our community in the years to come, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Randy Phillips.
Hi, Randy Phillips, 970 Old Highway 27. I just know when I moved here, the connecting community and nature was like the first sign I saw when I moved to Mount Holly. And I feel like it's something that I wish there was more emphasis on with all the construction, which has boomed in the last several years since I've been here, mostly residential. It seems like the first thing they do is get rid of the nature. And then the thing that never happens is connecting it to the community. You know, where I live across from Deer Track, there's 100 houses that they're building across the street. And I haven't seen a deer since, the first bulldozers were over there. And it's really sad, and also there's no connection. They're building 100 houses and there's no connection even to the park right up the street, and that's like a really dangerous road to walk on. I'm scared to go across the street to check the mail, and just because of the increased traffic. So the nature or the community would be great, but I feel like we're getting rid of both of those, and I think that when we're building, having huge developments, that's going to raise $15 million. I think the least that we can expect is for them to connect the sidewalks or leave a little bit of nature.
Thank you. The next order of business is a discussion of 131 South Main Street and the Mount Holly Historical Society's offer to purchase the property. The Mount Holly Historical Society recently received a large donation to purchase the former City Hall building located at 131 South Main Street. The Historical Society has presented the city with an offer to purchase this property for $355,000. North Carolina General Statute 160A-279 provides a way for the city to sell the former City Hall to the Historical Society as a nonprofit organization without going through a competitive bid process. The Historical Society has been a tremendous community partner with the city since 2011 and has faithfully managed artifacts owned by the city through a memorandum of understanding. I am in support of selling 131 South Main Street to the Historical Society and accepting this offer. I would like to see the council move forward with accepting this offer contingent on all requirements of North Carolina General Statute 160A-279, being satisfied and to direct staff to make the necessary arrangements to bring this back to the city council to finalize. That's my statement. Ms. Harris.
I'm going to make a motion that we move forward and accept the Historical Society's offer to purchase 131 South Main Street contingent on all requirements of North Carolina General Statute 160A-279 being satisfied and to direct staff to make the necessary arrangements and bring it back to the council.
I have a motion on the floor. Do I have support? I have second by Mr. Reeves. All in favor?
Any discussion?
Or any discussion? No discussion? All right. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor? I have 2 for, Mr. Reeves and Ms. Harris. Against, Mr. Meadows, Ms. Shoemaker, Mr. Craig, and Mr. Huff. So the motion fails.
Next step.
Okay. You want to mention that?
Yeah, I'd be glad to, Mr. Mayor. First of all, thank you all for being here tonight. I appreciated the opportunity last week to sit down with the Historical Society to talk about what next steps would be in this process, what potentially the council may direct us to do. I do want to take a step back to recap the official action that's been taken of the council up until this point. As was stated tonight, the City of Mount Holly has a longstanding relationship with the Mount Holly Historical Society going back to the early 2010s, 2010, 2011. A couple years ago, 2022, if I'm not mistaken, there were concerns raised by the Historical Society about environmental issues. The city at the time conducted a very in-depth environmental study, spent $85,000 to move forward with looking at these environmental issues. A committee was put together at the time to evaluate the best use of that building. It was October 2023, if I'm not mistaken, that the Old City Hall Committee, the Historical Society, presented to council. Council at the time determined that it would be in the best interest of the city to move forward with selling this under the upset bid process. This was in October 23rd, 2023. It was stated at the time the Historical Society would like 30 days to raise the funds to purchase the building. Then Mayor Huff at the time noted that in the minutes, and the vote that was taken was to move forward with the upset bid process to have the property listed no earlier than December 1, 2023. This would have given the Historical Society approximately 50 days to make a proposal. At the time, the vote was 4-2 at the time, with then Councilman Moore and Councilwoman Harris voting against that particular measure. Since then, we have continued to move forward based on that direction of council, working with Creech and Associates on the upfitting of the space here at the municipal complex. We expended approximately $118,160 coming out of the March retreat to work towards putting that upfitting proposal together, and have budgeted $680,000 to date in this current fiscal year budget. Certainly, we will continue to look at the direction that was given by council with the upset bid process. We will be back at the work session with an agenda item to talk about a resolution for that, to give that for council's consideration. Certainly, as I stated last week, and I think the council would agree, that the Historical Society certainly is encouraged to submit in the upset bid process, if that is the process that we continue on with, and that we will keep everyone in the loop with where we are on this process, and will continue to provide you information as I have it and as council directs. Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to answer any questions the council may have or speak further on any of these issues.
Any questions from council? No? Okay.
I have one.
Mr. Meadows?
Could you state for the record how much we've already spent on the current design, and give us an update on where we are on the project?
Sure.
How far along we are?
Yes, sir, Councilman Meadows. This was last addressed at the March 2024 retreat of the City Council, where we moved forward with $118,000 with Creech and Associates with a budget amendment. We moved forward in the budget process where $680,000 was put into the budget. We have continued to pay Creech each month on that this fiscal year alone, if I'm not mistaken. It's been somewhere between $12,000 and $20,000 just that's been expended since July. We met with Creech and Associates last week. We are looking at a demolition bid that will go out likely within the next couple of weeks to work towards the upfitting of the facility, of the space here at City Hall, to facilitate that move based on the direction that council gave, based on the action that council took in October of 2023.
Mr. Meadows?
And I'd also like to remind council that this was a Citizens Advisory Board that met for over a year and voted unanimously to follow this direction. So I'd like to put that back in the record as well.
Any other comments for Mr. Blanton? Okay. We'll move on. All right, number 2 under new business, city manager report, and I would like to mention that Mr. Blanton has been with us for a year now, and I think he's doing an outstanding job. He's been out in the community and in the middle of everything going on. You know, he's he's in the room if he's in the room. So it's very obvious, but it's just his very welcoming personality, and he just wants to be involved in anything that he can do to help out. That's what he's going to do. So thank you for your 1 year of service, and I'll let you do your city manager's report from here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I took that to mean that I'm loud and stand out a bit, huh? No, it has been a wonderful year here in Mount Holly. I, of course, started January 2nd, 2024, and we've accomplished so much. For those of you that are on our biweekly newsletter, I sent out a list of 24 accomplishments that I was particularly proud of that occurred over the last year. This is a testament to the dedication of our council, the direction that they've given, and we have seen so much success happen here in Mount Holly from January 24 to 25. I did want to touch a few on those because I think some of them bear notes, and I think we need to take a moment to realize some of the wonderful things that are happening in Mount Holly, that are shaping up here in Mount Holly, and that will likely be coming into fruition this year. We had a great year. We saw Muddy River open up. That was a $4 million investment that breathed life into a former mill here in, the oldest remaining mill here in Gaston County. It's been a showpiece for Mount Holly. It's brought lots of people in, and Robbie and Caroline have done a wonderful job partnering with the city, working with the city, and volunteering their time and effort. That was huge, something that we did earlier this summer. The City Council facilitated the developmental amendment to the agreement that will bring OMB to Mount Holly this year. We had a wonderful groundbreaking back in November, and we will again see a multi-million-dollar investment that will serve as a great welcome into Mount Holly and Gaston County just as you come across the bridge. Those were two huge successes, wins with our partners in the private sector. We were able to provide for additional security cameras on the Greenway. That was something council put an emphasis on during our retreat. We made that happen, and in the summer we brought those online in order to facilitate a safe experience for everyone at our Tuck Park and on our greenways. We are moving forward very quickly with the Ransom Hunter Park project. This council voted unanimously to approve the naming of that park after Mr. Ransom Hunter, the first freed black man to own land here in Gaston County, and we're looking towards building that park at the end of the summer, having that open with our friends that were awarded the contract, J.D. Goodrum, who also was responsible for the fantastic police memorial that's out here. Certainly something that we are proud of and looking forward to bringing into fruition. Our city staff did an incredible job. The mayor was very kind in complimenting me, but I certainly cannot do anything without the support of the council and the support of the staff that I have entrusted to me. We won numerous awards last year. For the first time, our finance department won the Distinguished Government Finance Officers Award. That's a federal recognition that we won, which is a testament to our wonderful finance staff. A lot of you were here. Council certainly heard a very high praise of our audit that was given in December. Our finance department really shined last year. We also received a zero deficiency letter for our 911 center in the police department, which was a great testament to our police officers, a great testament to the administration and leadership there. And most recently, we received the area-wide optimization program award for our water department. Our water department, of course, operates 24/7, sometimes as the unsung heroes, and sometimes is overlooked, but they are there day in and day out, treating anywhere from 15 to 17 million gallons of water each week. So that is certainly something that our council is proud of and our community should be proud of. That we have these award-winning departments that show up every day and really work well in order to make sure that we provide stellar services to our residents. We had a great special event season. We saw tens of thousands of people come downtown, and were able to have a wonderful summer celebrating various holidays, bringing bands, bringing people into downtown to visit our businesses and visit with us a bit here in Mount Holly. It has been a great year, and I'm very much looking forward to this year. We're going to see a lot happen this year. We're moving forward with a new fire department, Catawba Heights. That is something that will be a huge showpiece, a testament, a symbol of pride in how dedicated this council has been with funding these capital projects. And just tonight, you saw us unveil our new sound system here at the municipal complex. We may have a few glitches, but we're going to continue to work to provide transparent, open communication to our residents, and I'm so proud of just a few things that we've done this year here in Mount Holly. And as I mentioned, a lot is coming up. Our retreat will be here February 28th, where we will continue to look at the successes that we have accomplished and look towards the future. Very much looking forward to that. Invite the public to attend. That will be an all-day event here at the municipal complex. We will be closed on Monday for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, but there will be no delay residential garbage pickup. Tonight, I did want to recognize that we have our newest member of staff, Mr. Eric Smallwood, joined us a week and a half ago as our new full-time Parks and Recreation Director, and I am confident that he will be a great addition to our department, building on the successes that Mark Jusko, our superintendent, has brought over the past few years, joining Mark, joining our Parks and Rec staff in order to make great things happen here in Mount Holly. Again, I'm proud to be here with you guys. Appreciate the opportunity to serve. Appreciate the trust that council has put into me, and looking forward to a great 2025. That is all I have tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Blanton. At this time, we're going to go into closed session pursuant NCGS 143-318-1 11A, 3, and 5. Y'all want to take a break?
That will be a break.
Well, I know, but if you need to go after we do the, so I've got a motion to go into a closed session by Mr. Huff, second by Ms. Shoemaker. All in favor? We are now in closed session. Thank you. Oh, yeah.